Welcome back to Foreign Friday with yours truly, HRT Rich, and the little switcheroo there, the 22-1 Thomas. Thomas, I think we got to get up, dust ourselves off a little bit from a little bit of a ass whooping last week at, where were we? I don't even want to remember.
Yeah, I think it's very forgettable. It was Sandown.
Is that where we were? Sandown?
Oh.
I'm not sure where we were. Wherever it was, when I went to go look at the results on the following day, Saturday, I was like, well, maybe we should have taken a day off.
Yeah.
Man, we can't win them all, right? We're going to try to win them all today at the Curragh, actually tomorrow. Saturday. Yes, Saturday. Some big races over there. We're talking about the Curragh Cup and then the Irish Oaks. Tell us a little bit about the history of either one of those big races. Is that why you changed your mind?
Well, these are group races, and the other, again, I try to look for racing that is going to maybe give us a little clue on the Breeders' Cup in November. So, because these races have had horses come out of them, and it's always nice to try to figure those out, because most people in this country probably struggle a little with the foreign form.
Mm-hmm. Skip over that.
They also know what is good too. So, but that's taken a while. I mean, back when the Breeders' Cup started and the foreign horses started coming over more, you got good odds on ones that you should have never gotten good odds on, because in Europe the price was one, and the price here was much better.
Well, tomorrow at Monmouth they have a European-esque race in the United Nations. It's part of the Haskell Stakes wagering guide that you can get over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There's a link in the description below. Over there, you can download it, get some free sports picks as well. And tonight, from free picks for Charlestown on this Foreign Friday. So when you go to Charlestown, you always have about 20 minutes before they go to post when they're at post. So you got a long time at that track, right?
A few hours.
Yeah, and what are they doing over there? But whatever it is they're doing,
they're unique, and I'm not quite sure why, because it's not like there's going to be massive money pouring in at that track.
Well, every dollar matters. So
yeah, I guess so.
All right. Well, today we're going to try to make our money at the Curragh, as I mentioned. We're going to start off in the second race on the card. It's the 6 furlong Barberstown Castle Sprint Nursery Handicap for our favorite sort of horses. Those 2-year-olds, those terrible twos, and anything goes with those horses. I'm sure you're watching some Curragh races. The track is good today. Well, I expect it to be good tomorrow. Thomas, what can you expect when these horses make this 6 furlong affair through that slight rise, that slight turn, and then a slight rise to the finish line?
Well, with 2-year-olds, as you said, who knows? But there's not a lot to go on them. Except we do know that certain people certainly have good ideas of how to train 2-year-olds to win, and we've seen more than a few good ones come out of there. So
yeah, I didn't see Wesley Ward over there, so it didn't make it easy for me. So what did you see that made it easy for you?
Well, I don't know if it was easy, but I started with number 4. Without further ado, draw a 7. After racing mid-pack in her first 2 races, she was a lot closer up in the last race and ran third. She was 1 3/4 lengths behind, and in that race she went off at 40-1. Well, that's one of my classic horses that I like to look for, and that is that she's showing interest in running now after a little bit of some chances. This is one that I think you'll get a price, but you won't get 40-1.
Well, 16-1 right now. That'll work.
Yeah. Number 2, Snapdragon, next choice. Going to be draw 7. Draw 8. She basically was short of room last time out in her finish. Would she got into the winner? I don't know. It's really hard to say, but I don't know how much they had under. And yeah, that's a good connection, right? They generally know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the outside draw actually may help this horse, based on watching the replay of the race. So we'll see. And finally, we'll go with the favorite, Rudy's Apple. It's number one, and it's got draw number one. She just missed by 1 1/4 lengths last time out. She went off as the favorite. That was a race before that. She ran 6th at Royal Ascot in one of those small fields of 27 horses. It is to note in this race that in the last race, the jockey dropped the reins near the finish and recovered. So was she going to get to the winner? Good question. But I think maybe if they hang on a little better, maybe have a better chance.
I am going to start off with the Shimmy Jimmy. I just like when they rhyme. Got a tip for the Shimmy Jimmy. Gets to the lead. When you look through whatever information's available to me, this one looked like it's the one that's going to get to the lead to me. A lot of the other ones don't look like they really want to be on the lead. So maybe Shimmy Jimmy can get out to the front, Jimmy its way to an easy lead, and then just take it all the way to the winner's circle. Rudy's Apple, that's next up for me. 2 tips on that one. Did run a very big race last out. Repeat, and it's graduation day. A lot of these horses haven't won before, right? It's
only one horse won.
Yeah, so we got like a maiden race.
Not a maiden, it's a Nursery.
I'm going to go without further ado as well, just like you, Thomas. Last time out, that horse improved a ton. This is one of the things that I learned from Charles when he spent some time with us, is when those horses go out and almost finish out at 7 furlongs or a mile or whatever, and then they cut back a furlong. Many times that cutback race is the winning effort. That's what I think you'll see from Without Further Ado today. And then, like you, Thomas, Snapdragon is my final choice in this 2-year-old race. Finished well behind Rudy's Apple last time out. I don't see anything or haven't read anything to change that order, but I do feel like Snapdragon with Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien probably better than all of the rest in terms of its opportunity. So, one of your favorite type of horses that hits the board, but necessarily not the winner. I don't know if the predictor will agree or disagree with us. Last week, it was pretty disagreeable, and I think it was the first week ever it actually beat us. So we have to put it back in its place.
Pretty badly, too.
All right. So Snapdragon, I guess they do feel like Snapdragon can turn the table around on Rudy's Apple. Without further ado, Shimmy Jimmy, all of our horses are right there, Thomas, in alignment with the predictor. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but we will certainly find out tomorrow or today, depending upon you're watching. Next up in our 5 races is race number 3. This one is the David Power Memorial Handicap. No idea who David Power is. Do you, Thomas?
Nope. No clue.
Yeah. No, I should have probably Googled it, but I didn't have enough time. Again, we're going to go 6.5 furlongs this time. So we're going to start back in here somewhere. Make that dash up the hill, slight fall, level out, and then go slight rise into the finish line. Some undulations. Good footing, Thomas. Do you expect the front runners to be up there at the end, the middle of the pack types? What do you think?
It's we won't know until we watch that first race, even though it's a bunch of maiden 2-year-olds, to see if the speed's going to hold. Traditionally, I have found at the Curragh that you do not want a front runner unless it's handled by somebody like Ryan Moore, who knows how to judge pace really well, because most of them get caught and run over.
Yeah, they have that clocked in their heads, right?
Yeah. Well, it's an amazing thing to watch a rider that can do that. And, it's not like in harness racing where you have the times when you're going around. Here, you have nothing.
Yeah, I remember talking to Jose Ortiz. He said that they actually, like when they're training, he's counting in his head to see how close he is to the clock when they're done running. So rewinding back a race, Thomas, I know here in the States, when horses are looking for their first win, more often than not, they're very much forwardly placed. Is that the same you feel like in Europe, or doesn't have that same sort of feel?
I'm going to say maybe. When I say that is because I think it depends on which track you're talking about. They're not you get that here with, courses for courses and things like that. But generally, with only two really exceptions, all these tracks here are flat for the most part. They may have a little bank on the curve but they don't have the undulations and the ups and downs. So, if you're looking at Thirst versus Chester, those are widely different types of tracks. I mean, I look at, in terms of Kentucky Downs, I look at Brighton, Bath, and Chester as ones that give me some idea of what kind of race you could see out of those. And that some of that insight came from last year in an article I read. Jamie Spencer had a mount and won on, and he commented about riding there and what courses he thought this was similar to.
All right. Well, now that we learned a little bit, as we like to do on the show week after week, let's learn a little bit about what you think is going to happen. David, we have no idea who you are. Power Memorial Premier Handicap.
I'm going to start with number 11, Greek Flower, with draw number 7. Ran a solid second last time out at the Curragh at 5 furlongs. It was in a handicap race. Ran second in her first start of the year and lost by 2 3/4 lengths. But both races, she went off a decent odds. She went off at 12-1 and 22-1. She's won at distances of 6 furlongs. She's been in the money in 7 furlongs. So I think we'll see what she wants if the 6.5 is her thing. Next one I'm going to take is number 7, Mr. Wagyu, and that's draw 8. He's shipping over after he's run decent races. He's not winning, but he's running decent races. These are all 6 furlongs. He's got going to have the top weight or one of the top weight horses in here. He's running second, third, second. Will the added distance help? Well, why did they ship him over?
Hopefully for a win. I think that would be the only reason why.
What I would do. All right. The final horse is number 12. And if you could pronounce this name, you're doing a lot better than me because I think it's some Irish name.
Ko Shunghan.
Okay, I'll take that. Got draw work. Ran 7 furlongs last time out. She was held towards the back of the field and made up a little bit of ground at the end. Of course, that was against females, so she's going to switch to males today. Her second race back, she was a winning effort actually at this distance at List Tower. And of course, because she's a female, she gets some weight off against some of this bunch. And I think you're going to get a pretty good price. So take a look at her.
Yeah. Sometimes we get comments in the comment section, right? And we have one from, I guess, in Turkish. So I translated it. You may have read it, folks. I apologize for that. But it's interesting to me how cleanly Turkish translates into some profanity in the United States. I mean, perfect, spot on. Bam. Like, all right, there you go. Anyway. All right. Hopefully my handicap.
We use the profanity when we watch some of these races.
Yeah, that's off camera, right? Because we get comments in all different kinds of languages. And in the StreamYard app that we're using to broadcast, there's a button in there that says translate to English. Now, of course, we have no idea what it says if it comes in Turkish or Spanish or, some other language that we're unfamiliar with. So we hit the translate button. It's like a roll of the dice, a form of roulette on the air. And, we got a bunch of MFers in that one. And I did not know that there was an MFer in Turkish, but apparently there is a word for that.
Oh, well, not a huge surprise.
It did come up. I put it up, but it's in the foreign language. I translated it here and then put it up on the screen. So you can go back and see what it said if you want. All right. Anyhow, for me in the race number 3 for David Power in his memorial, I'm going to go with my mate Alfie. If my mate Alfie can repeat its last race, it's back-to-back W's in the second start after a layoff. Number 6, Hurricane Ivor. I'm hoping I hit this race. I got a couple of nice prices here to get started right there. A big effort last out, and his resume says that there'll be more to come in the second start after a layoff. Number 9 for me, Heavenly Power, 6-1. So a nice trifecta on tap here. 2 other tips, so some other smart folks out there for sure. This one of those horses is what I call the finally healthy type. We talked about that last week, Tom. This is the first time in its career that the horse is making consecutive starts without heading to the bench. That tells me this horse is finally right. And then finally, speaking of ones that are tough to pronounce, Ohelibik, the 15 horse. That's my final choice in there at all. Last time out, compare fractions, final times, ran about a second quicker than it did in its other start, similar distance. And this one's usually kind of close at the end. So a Tom horse maybe doesn't win, but one that could absolutely increase the size of your bankroll if it hits for second or third or fourth along those lines. I see Tom likes 22 to 1 shot. Yeah, he likes to go with some long. Race number 3 to 6, Hurricane Ivor. All right. Race Masters and I in alignment. If you have some ideas, you want to throw out a couple of MFers, F-bomb or 2, go ahead and put that up in the comment section. We'd appreciate that. Along with your picks, selections, whether it's today, Friday, or somewhere else around the world. Haskell, you have thoughts on that? Some big races this weekend with Torpedo over at Saratoga. Any particular thoughts on some of the big races this weekend? Share them with us. Right now, we'll see what the folks from the Predictor share in terms of this big race at the Curragh in the third. Looks like a prohibitive winner there. Heavenly Power coming home at 6-1, that finally healthy horse. They must have that in the algorithm there. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much tight right in there for second place. So got a clear winner, and then you're going to have a 5-way dead heat for second, Tom.
That would be different.
Yeah, well, a lot of omnis there for sure, right? Race number 4, we're doing 5. This is the middle one of the bunch that we're doing. Barberstown Castle Sapphire Stakes, Group 2 for 3-year-olds this time around. They're going to shorten up a little bit. Slight rise, not too much. They'll be almost in the slight fall right away. They'll level out. Then slight rise. A lot of sprints for us to get started this weekend, Thomas. So what do we learn from the longer ones for the shorter one?
Run fast.
That works.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help that when you bet on a slow horse.
No, the turtle and the hare fable does not work on the track.
No, it does not. And with that, I'm going to take number 7, Valiant Force. Draw 8 is my first choice. Last time out at Royal Ascot, it finished 14th. It was about 10 lengths behind. It was an average effort. He ran 2 races prior to that at Gulfstream. He went off as the favorite in one and lost and finished 4th in the other one. His Breeders' Cup race, this is a horse that seems to wake up whenever he feels like it. Breeders' Cup race, he finished 2nd in the juvenile turf. And was a nice price, but he wasn't the price that he was at Royal Ascot last year. And he won at Royal Ascot at 150 to 1. So I think he's primed for a big effort. Again, another one they're going to ship over there. And, it just, he seems to throw a clunker and then throws a good race. So I'm going to go with the good one. Next is going to be number 4, Markarova. We draw 2. Winner last time out at Sandown in the Group 3. It was at 5 furlongs. Ran at Royal Ascot at the same distance. And, again, one of the things to note is that race, out of that race, we've had winner of our races last week, which is at York, which I just remembered. Newmarket for the July Cup. At York.
Yeah, they should have picked that one.
They were running at York last weekend too, but Newmarket. And the winner ran 3rd, and the horse that ran 2nd ran 3rd from that race. So this horse has been running up against some good company. But he has mixed results. That's why I'm going to put him for second. I don't know if I think he'll stay in form, and run well, but I don't know if he's going to win. Could win this one. And finally, we'll take number 2, a no Shira, with a draw number 6. She just missed by half a length last time out, going 6 furlongs. She was at the Curragh. It was a listed race, and it was yielding going, so a little moisture in the ground. She's placed in a few group races, but she's not won one yet. The drop in distance, I think, is going to help, and I'm going to put her for a placing.
I'm going to put Beautiful Diamond at the top of my ticket. Thomas, in my opinion, looking through the past performances, this horse does have the most upside in the race. No tips, though, so I'm feeling a little bit lonely about that. Believing is going to be your favorite. I think deservedly so, Thomas. The horse, I think, in the last 6 races, 5 of them were Group 1 outings, so taking a little bit step down here today.
She's wildly inconsistent. That's the problem I have with her. I mean, she popped in with a good price, and then at Haydock, and then nothing.
Well, this is the lightest company she faced in a while, and the last time she faced company of this standard won fairly easily. So I think there's a good chance we'll see an easy win again today, but I'm going to try to beat it. That's why I went with Beautiful Diamond. I agree with you. The Russian version of the Macarena, Makarova, that one. I love the comment that the horse was ridden and ran on. So that tells you that at the end of the race, the horse wanted to go some more. So there's plenty of left for this horse in a third start after a layoff. And then finally, number 9, She's Quality, and kind of a middling odds for me in this one. Won the last 2 races, in quotes, easily. I am a bit concerned that maybe you have a pair of peak races in a row with a little bit of regression, and that's why she gets the 4th spot instead of her 3rd easily comment in a row. Perhaps the predictor will disagree, and the 9 horse will make it 3 races in a row. She's Quality that were easily. It looks like there's 3 horses right there. There you go, Tom. There's your Anno Syra, and then the Russian version of the Macarena, Makarova, and Believing. Everybody else, Beautiful Diamond, She's Quality. They're way back off the pack there, but at least maybe they'll have a shot in there if those other 3 horses back up a bit. 3 down, 2 to go, and the 2 big ones to come, Thomas. The first being the Irish Oaks. This one's 1 mile and 4 furlongs, or translated to English, 1.5 miles. On the turf at 1.5 miles, we're going to go back here. Some undulations, fairly level. On the Derby course, they're going to go uphill, then downhill, and then from downhill to a slight fall. They're going to level out and slight rise. So with this kind of weird arc all the way around the track until you get to the straightaway at the end, Tom, is there an advantage to being on the inside?
Sometimes. I don't think this field's big enough for that's going to be an issue. But you got to place your horse in the right place to have a chance. And you can get caught a little wide on that turn, and it cost you. But again, part of it is, remember, there's about 3 furlongs left to run when they get out of that turn. Mm-hmm. So they're going to spread out and fan out. So really, the jockey is looking for the best place to run the horse, or the best going. So whether it's inside or outside, and that's true of these straightaway races too. I mean, they're going to walk it, and they're going to decide, is it near side, or is it far side, or you go up the middle, and see what your results are.
Let's go straight to the finish line, my friend. And who's going to do that?
I'm going to take number 10, Port Fairy, with draw 11. I think Ryan Moore has the wrong horse, so the connections are putting him on the Content because they think that's the horse, the big horse. Well, she's really only been out of the money. She's been out of the money once. She's 1 or 2 of her 4 starts. She won at Royal Ascot at 12 to 1 with Ryan Moore aboard, and I had the horse and I thought she was really impressive. She's been on all kinds of going, so that doesn't seem to be an issue. I think she prefers the good going, and that's what they're saying to her today, and that's what I'm going to think. So I'm going to put her on top. Next one is going to be number 13, War Chimes. We'll draw 10. Had a really strong finish in third, finishing third, going this distance at Epsom in the Oaks, and went off at 50-1. Won a listed race at Chantilly at going 9 furlongs, and that was on the heavy going. Maiden winner at Haydock, that was on a good track. So guess what? I think she likes most tracks so far, at least. I think off that last effort and get a little time away, may see something really interesting out of this horse. Finally, I'm going to take number 8, Lope de las. Draw 1. An impressive winner last time out in a maiden, a gal at, and then after a okay run at Galway on the heavy going before. Well, looks like she doesn't like the heavy going, because she was really full of it. I mean, they went 10 furlongs last time. We don't know her best distance yet, but we'll find out. Colin Keane has switched to one of the other horses, and James Doyle is coming over to ride this horse. So I think there's a lot of upside, and watch out.
Well, interesting, we both saw the same thing with the 2-horse and the 10-horse, Content and Port Fairy. I looked at it the other way around. I figured, well, Ryan Moore stays there instead of the 10-horse. That was a tell to me. So I'm going to back Ryan Moore. I'm going to trust him. You don't. That's why I went that route. I'm going to go with the 7-horse in my second selection, Lava Stream, as you and I only agree on 1 horse in this race right here. I just, from reviewing the races, Tom, it seems like the longer the race, the better the horse is. Has a pretty good late kick, and this is going to be the longest race to date. We'll find out if my theory holds true. Number 11, Purple Lily, next on my list of horses to consider. This one is at her best, following some rest. That's what the horse has between races today. The last 3 times, the horse got a little bit of time in the barn, a little R&R, and then came back to work. 2 wins in a second by just a half a length. So I expect her to be competitive. And then Port Fairy, just in case I was wrong, Thomas, this one is a head away from winning her last 3 and upped her speed figure, the European speed figure, in each of those 3. I know in the U.S., 3 consecutive speed figure increases in a row, according to Barry Meadows in his book, The Skeptical Handicapper, which I think you recommended to me, Thomas.
I did.
Yes, indeed. See, I take your recommendations and I go and read them. But Barry Meadows says that's what I call an alpha angle, wins at 15% or more. I don't think he studied any Irish races, but let's just assume, which is always a good thing to do, that it holds true on that side of the Atlantic too. The predictor says Barry Meadows can take his ideas and Content. It looks like it agrees with me, to tell with Ryan Moore. And then Lava Stream, I don't know. Looking at that picture, it looks to me like Lava Stream won that race.
Well, you'll have to go to the photograph.
Port Fairy right behind. So maybe he did make the wrong decision. We'll find out at the end. Maybe they'll all bump into each other and let Lava Stream get the nose at the end. One final race for you and me, Tom. Again, some free picks today or tonight on Friday over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. And then while you're there, make sure you check out our wagering guide for the Haskell. $1 million race tomorrow. Some good horses in there, mindfulness and fierceness. That should be a pretty strong duel up front. And then that United Nations race of, what is it, 1.5 miles, Tom? Something like that. Yeah, it should be. That's one of my favorite races is that United Nations race. Always a horse has opportunity. Great funeral director, not being, she said, why would I be? What are you saying about our picks, man, if you think I'd be a great funeral director? Yes, indeed. All right. When the show is over, a little bit later on today, I will post all of our comments and our notes at horseracingtoday.net. If I don't embalm you first, you can get them over there at
we won't get bombed, so that's pretty good.
Yes. And then while you're there too, get some Horse Racing Today gear. You get the last day of free shipping, and heck, you got 5 days left of free shipping. So take advantage of that. I'll have to get a Hearst painted with horse racing on the side as well. Now, before we go off to some picks that might deaden your bankroll, Thomas, Let's talk about the 6th race. This one is the Curragh Cup. Any significance to this race? It's like a big race in Ireland or what?
Yeah, well, and it's a little longer. It's our longest race of the day, going a mile 6 furlongs. So you're back in that chute way back there, mile
Way back.
3/8. Yeah. Again, they run the long races. We don't as much. So what'll happen will be interesting, because this is, I think, one of the better fields.
Yeah, 1 3/4, a mile. That's a pretty long race. And here when we have those long races, they tend to jog out of the gates and then build momentum as they head to the finish line. They run their 5 furlong races like that over there. So I wonder if they're going to jog out of the gates or walk out of the gates here and then speed it up at the end.
Yeah, well, again, that 3 furlong mark is when they start to get after and see if they have anything in terms of positioning. That 2 marker is when 2 furlong out markers gives you an idea whether they're actually going to finish, or you may as well go look at the next race.
Start looking at the Saratoga card. Yeah. All right, what do you got for this final race for you?
I start with number 2. Crypto Force is my top choice. Let's draw 12. I ran an even effort at Royal Ascot last time out. Sat mid-pack and finished, well, evenly. It was okay run. I liked the run before, but a little better. It was at the Curragh, and he finished 3rd, and that was behind at 40-1, and that was behind Auguste Rodin and White Birch. Well, those are 2 very good horses.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a nice distance. He's a winner at a mile, which is interesting. So and the other thing is that was interesting with this horse is he did not race in 2023. And at those odds, I think this may be the breakthrough race.
Well, 40-1, yeah. I mean, if he finishes 2nd, you're happy. If he wins, you're dancing in the streets.
Absolutely. Number 6, Tower of London is my next choice. The number has draw 11. He's gone off as the favorite in his last 4 races, and he's won 2 of them. But those were 15 and 16 furlong races, and they were in Dubai and Saudi Arabia. So, his last race was, So, what do they do? Well, Ryan Moore's back up, and going to be the favorite again. I think there's no question in my mind. Do I think he has a shot? I do, but I take it with a grain of salt too.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that Dubai, Saudi Arabia form doesn't play out, and they need a race or two, and at least one race they show nothing, and then the next race they're a little better, and then they improve. So coming off from the trip out there, but it depends on the horse, and maybe that is the case with this one. And finally, we take number 7, Bob Ban, as draw 3. Ran at Royal Ascot last time out, and it was behind Kryptos in the and there was a pace setter and Kryptos caught him, and he finished 4th. And I actually think it's a pretty good run considering who he's in front of him. My concern with him is the race too long? Was it last time? Now they're going to shorten him up a little bit. Is this the better distance for this horse? And looking at the odds, I think people think the horse has got a shot. So I'm putting him on my ticket.
I think he has a shot too, because I put him at the top of my list. And the reason being, Thomas, is that this horse, as you mentioned, did face some stiff competition so far. But another one of those horses that rarely makes it back-to-back starts without heading to the sidelines. So I give it that finally healthy designation. Number 12, kinesiology. That's always one of my favorite words to kind of screw up when I'm trying to say it. I practiced it a few times to make sure I get it mostly right. This one's getting better. If you look, race after race after race after race, it continues on that trend today. That would be good enough to win. Number 9, Shamida. That's probably a little bit easier to pronounce, I think. Probably screwed it totally up. But anyway, ran some of his best races off the bench, like today, especially when he's getting good footing. So you put A plus B together, you get C squared. That's the Pythagorean theorem. That's something Race Masters probably uses in his handicapping. And then finally, Tower of London, Thomas. Yes, I do think that's the horse to beat in this race. My only concern with Tower of London is that this horse can throw out some real stinkers from time to time. And if we catch a stinker today or tomorrow, depending upon when you're watching, then the odds are way too low for that sort of risk. Finally, the final predictor of this Foreign Friday is who do you think is going to pick? Tower of London?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's see if we both predict that correct. Bam! No, Vauban, our top pick. There you go, Tom. Going to beat Tower of London. And then Shamita right there. Look at that. All right. Crypto Force, there you are. So all of our picks in that mix today. So we're not such disagreement this week with the predictor. So I'm feeling a little better going into tomorrow at the Curragh than I felt last week. Well, we had been dominating the predictor, so it needed its revenge. So we're all on the same page, and
it got its revenge in a really bad way for us.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that means we'll all be in agreement this week, and we can diverge next week, Tom. So speaking of next week, where will we do our Foreign Friday? Provided between here and there, you don't change your mind.
I'm not going to change my mind on this one because there's a Breeders' Cup Win You're In race, and it's at Ascot, and that is the King George the 6th and the Queen Elizabeth Stakes.
All right, well, there you have it. So make sure.
Definitely a Group 1, and not that be a big surprise. And it, again, has, that nice little package. You get to go to take your horse and go to the Breeders' Cup in Del Mar.
See Del Mar this year. Yeah, maybe we'll find our way out there. That'd be nice. I haven't been to Del Mar. I understand it's a beautiful. Have you been there, Tom? Del Mar?
I have been there. Yes.
My
trip is going to be in September. I'm going to go to Kentucky Down. I was supposed to do it last year, but had some issues come up. Mm-hmm. This year I'm planning on it. I even bought some seats for the racing.
So I've been to Santa Anita. I have not been to Del Mar. Which track is nicer in terms of it's just looking at it?
I think being on the ocean.
Nicer.
Yeah, for me. I mean, the mountains of San Gabriel's are nice to look at, and Santa Anita and all that. Mm-hmm. But I think I prefer that morning and afternoon look of being able to see the ocean. Literally a stone throws away from it, Del Mar.
Well, speaking of ocean, stone throws away again tomorrow. The Haskell, get the wagering guide over a guaranteed tip sheet. Make sure you
the world.
Yeah, well, that's on the other side, right? The planet. Well, it seems like it anyway.
They're near the ocean too, because they're in ocean port.
So make sure if you haven't done so to keep up with all the stuff that we're doing. Monday and Tuesday, Terry and I will do Parks. Wednesday and Thursday, we'll do Saratoga, provided something doesn't come up like it did for me yesterday. And I wanted to do Saratoga because I had an okay pick for the day before at the Spa, which is a tough place to, because it's the graveyard of favorites, right, Tom? The Spa.
Yep, it has been.
Yeah, so we'll do that next week, and then we'll do Ascot on Foreign Friday. We got that to make sure you don't miss it. All of our social sites down below. Horse Race, the number 2 day. If you're on Twitter, follow us. If you're on Facebook, like us. Right? Is that how it goes? And thumbs up wherever you are. You know the routine by now, folks, with all the social sites. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Tell your friends about us. We appreciate it. And, of course, Tom, that's it. Any final words of wisdom from you before we part?
Well, let's hope we do better than we did last week.
Yes, Santa Anita. Race Masters like Santa Anita better. So I'm going to have to go see Del Mar. And I will be the tiebreaker. The Undertaker, not the tiebreaker, as I am a funeral director now. Me and the WWE. All right, folks, no matter what you're doing from now until the time we get back together for Parks or for Ascot for next Foreign Friday, we certainly hope that you have God's grace, God's favor. Treat each other kindly, and we'll see you in our favorite place, Tom, and in England, that is, or even in the Curragh, that is.
Winner's enclosure.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us. Make it a fantastic weekend. Wrong button, Richard. This is the one.